Hello again. We're continuing with our study about the rapture, and to understand precisely when the rapture may occur, when it's most likely to occur, we have to understand that we're on the Jewish calendar. That's the first thing. We looked at that in the last video. Today, on that Jewish calendar, there are a number of cycles, and the first one of those is a cycle of 7 years, which is called the Shemitah cycle. In Exodus 23, while Moses was up on Mount Sinai, God gave him this rule. Exodus 23 verse 10, "For 6 years you shall sow your land and reap its yield, but the 7th year you shall release it and let it rest. And it will rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people," so the poor people could still go and pick up what they wanted, the poor people could eat whatever the land yields, and what they leave the wild beasts can take. So leaving the land fallow on the 7th year, which was called the Shemitah year, was a law given by God to Moses on Mount Sinai. In Leviticus 25 verses 1 to 6, look, this is again a repetition really. "The Lord said unto Moses in Mount Sinai, Speak to the children of Israel, and say unto them, When you come into the land which I give you, you shall keep the land a Sabbath unto the Lord every 7th year. 6 years shall you sow your field, and 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather the fruit. But on the 7th year it shall be a Sabbath of rest for the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. You shall neither sow your field or prune your vineyard." That's the first 4 verses. Now, there is the rule, the law given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Now, God says very clearly in Leviticus 25 and verse 23, he says, "The land is mine." So don't you go making the rules. I make the rules. The land belongs to me. The earth is the Lord's. And he's very concerned about the fact that the land does not get overworked and all the minerals and so on in the soil be overused and taken out by too much planting. Let's have a look now at Jeremiah. Of course, the people did not obey this rule. Jeremiah chapter 25. Lots of bits of paper this morning. Jeremiah 25 verses 10 and 11. This is a result if they don't keep the Shemitah rule. "I will take from the land the voice of mirth, the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride, and the sound of millstones and the light of the candle. And the whole land shall be desolate and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon for 70 years. There's the prophecy of Jeremiah that the people would go into exile for 70 years, partly because they didn't keep this rule about the Shemitah year. It wasn't the primary reason. The primary reason was idolatry. But this also was a cause of concern for the Lord, and one of the reasons why they went into the land of Babylon for a punishment. Now in Jeremiah 29 and verse 10, God said through the prophet, "Thus saith the Lord, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word towards you in causing you to return to this place." So yes, the prophet did prophesy the time in Babylon, the exile in Babylon, but he also prophesied that the people would return. Now, God had to arrange that, and he did that because there was a new king, and this new king, of course, was Cyrus in the Babylonian regime. That was overthrown, and Cyrus, the king of Persia, became the world leader in a sense. So we read this in Ezra chapter 1 and verse 1. "In the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, almost 70 years after the first Jewish captives were taken to Babylon, the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, in order that that word might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, so that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in writing. Now, that was done in 516 BC. They went into captivity in 586 BC. So they were there for 70 years. So that's what happened. They came back to the land, but they'd been in exile because of not obeying the law, partly because of not obeying the Shemitah law. Now, I also sent with you this piece of paper, and on this piece of paper it shows you the Shemitah cycle, and you can see the Shemitah cycle down in this bottom corner here by the shofar. It says 2022 to 23 and 5783. This year, this Jewish year of 5782 is a Shemitah year. And we're coming up to the end of it in September on Rosh Hashanah, and we go into 5783. So next year is the beginning of a new 7-year cycle. This year is the 7th year, it's a Shemitah year, but in September, with the new Jewish year, we start a new cycle. So Rosh Hashanah this year is the start of a new cycle, a new 7-year cycle of Shemitah years. Also, you would see on your sheet of paper, which I sent with you, with this thing here, you see a shofar. That's indicating that this coming year in the Rosh Hashanah, it's a Jubilee year. So not only is this the start of a new 7-year cycle, it's also a Jubilee year. So this is very significant that this coming Rosh Hashanah, this coming Feast of Trumpets, is the ideal, very most favoured time for the Lord to return. So be ready in September 26th. We start a new Shemitah cycle, and it's also the start of a Jubilee year. So be ready. If the Lord's coming back, he's got to either come back this year or he has to wait 7 more years for the start of a new Shemitah cycle. So get ready. Hallelujah. Did you follow all that? God bless you. Thanks for listening.